Hey guys, I'm back with my questions for DevOps SRE interviews. Today is question number 137. Before I get to it though, let me change the view so you can see it better. Okay, so as you might remember from my past videos, I'm going circling through as best I can to the top 15 topics that we have that I've gathered based on my research through LinkedIn job descriptions to what the important topics are for DevOps and SRE. Again, the top ones are more important, and then the bottom ones. So today we're going to concentrate on Terraform, even though it shows up as number 12. I feel like the data isn't representative of the real life here, but that's just my gut feel and based on my experience. So don't trust my gut, trust the data. But either way, Terraform is a very important topic for you to study before you get on to a DevOps and SRE interview. So let's go ahead and get started with today's question. Today's question has to do with Terraform providers. What is it and how does it interact with different infrastructure platforms? So the question on the surface may look like something academic, right? Just find the definition of Terraform provider and just talk about that. But it's actually not that, because what the viewer is looking for is your understanding of how Terraform works at a very basic fundamental level, right? We can learn Terraform coding, we can learn different Terraform terms, but um, surprisingly, many people who have used Terraform doesn't understand what's happening under the hood, even at a very shallow level. That's what this question is trying to address, trying to figure out from by asking this question, do you really understand how Terraform works with other platforms? What is it actually doing, right? That's the question. So before I get there, just a quick reminder, Floyd Spencer, floydspencer.com is my career advisor. I have no business session with him. I just wanted people to take advantage of his 1 hour free session that you might avail yourself of if you're in the job market. Moving on to the answer. So now, see, when you write Terraform code, right? Somehow that let's just take a scenario. Let's say you're writing a code for in Terraform to create as simple as thing as creating S3 bucket. How does it really work? Because the first thing you have to do in your code is to actually set up an AWS provider, and that blocks. You can Google that in yourself. It's really a 3-4 line block. All it says is AWS provider, and it gives you provide it with the key that you will associate with, so that it can actually log in with the AWS API. That's the key, right? So when you are dealing with providers, basically a plugin that's a bridge between your Terraform code and the API that's coming from the service provider. So in this particular case, AWS. So when you're writing and when you're using the AWS provider in Terraform, all you're doing is using somebody else's code, right? That is already written, that is making the bridge between your code and the APIs that are available for you in AWS. So you're writing code in YAML or in this case HCL, right? But that is getting translated into API calls that is being made to the in AWS, and that is true of any other services in the back end. That's why people can write their own Terraform provider. So let's say that you do the same thing for GCP. When you're using a GCP provider, all you're doing is you're taking your HCL code and making a bridge between that and the GCP APIs. Let's pick up something random. Let's say PagerDuty or something. I don't know if Terraform. I'm pretty sure Terraform. There is a provider for PagerDuty. I just picked that at random from my head, right? So if you're using the PagerDuty provider in Terraform, in your Terraform code, right? All you're doing is making calls to the APIs that PagerDuty already provides, right? And you are basically making your life simple by making a simple HCL code in your Terraform code that ultimately gets translated into API calls made to the service provider, in this case, PagerDuty. So it's just a bridge. Any provider in Terraform is just a bridge between your code and the API available from the service provider. That's all it is. So if you can articulate that in your interview, then you're good to go. Okay. If you need to talk, if you have a specific question for me, you can find my name on LinkedIn and add a connection to me and send me a message. I will do my best to answer your question, and I will give you how to look for that in this slide. So if you look for me on LinkedIn, you can send me a message. All right. I hope you found this useful, and I will see you in the next one.